Please make their way to the filmmakers or anyone on the production team that's coming out. The way you get to the stage is there's a door outside of this door, outside of this exit to the stage right. A round of applause again. This is a full house. I have 3 questions and I'll open up to the audience. I know that there are many questions that everyone wants to ask. To start, I just want you all to introduce yourself, your role within the film itself, and as a kind of way of doing a short mini icebreaker, if you could talk about what does solitude mean to you and what brings you peace? Or how does that manifest?
My name is Jarreau, Carrillo. I'm the director, writer, and actor of The Vacation. Making movies does not bring me solitude. It's a very difficult experience. I say just being at home, getting out of town, being here is a great experience. Meeting other filmmakers and just being able to have a space to create and build with other people.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Asli Dukan. I am the writer and director of Sundown. Does not necessarily bring me rest, but when we're at events like this, it's all worth it. Being with friends, being at home, plants, music, things like that. Bring me joy.
My name is David Gaines. Writer, director, and assistant editor on Freedom to Fall Apart. And also, I'm one of the 2023 BlackStar filmmakers. What solitude means to me, I'm learning that solitude is not the same thing as loneliness, and that I can enjoy my own company and create. That's the place I create from a place of just solitude and being with myself. But also I'm learning how to invite other people into my solitude, community, vulnerability, things like that. And what brings me peace is just being, just existing, not having to be doing something to feel like, worth the day, just existing.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Farris. I'm the writer and director of Living Proof. Solitude yet. I don't like being by myself. I like traveling and being around people all the time. Much to my partner's chagrin, all the time. And I think I find solace in gardening and listening to music and traveling.
Thank you. So the reason why I wanted to start with solitude is because the thread that I'm connecting between all these films is an interruption of solitude or peace. The film title for the series is Perturbed. I think Perturbed is an interruption of peace, collective peace or individual peace or solitude. And I think all of you have played a dance within your films between peace and perturbed, or peace or outside forces coming in to interrupt that, and it builds this tension. And so I was gonna ask, like, how do you build tension within your films? But I think another thing that I'm realizing is that the payoff comes with the audience reaction. Like, how you built this tension in your films, you can hear it within this audience. And I'm wondering, how does it feel for you to hear the audience reactions to your film?
It's very exciting. I'm very nervous. This is the first time I've ever made a film.
Congratulations.
It was great. You know, I'm a producer by, that's my day job. And so, of course, I was like, the sound is too low, and I'm about to run out of here and fix something. I'm trying to fix something. But it feels good. It feels good to get a reaction at all that's outside of myself or my editor, or my mom. You know, somebody else telling you that it's worthwhile. So thank you for that.
Yeah, this is as another first-time filmmaker, first-time director, also my first festival. The bar is high. The bar is so high. Yeah, I feel like I wrote this script from such a dark place. If I'm being honest, like a very shameful place, and comedy is so personal. You know, what we find funny is so deeply rooted in our own experience, our own individuality, and so the place I wrote this from was very isolated, very lonely. So to honestly be here with so many people, I mean, y'all came out on a Saturday to watch movies, to be here and to hear your laughter, and to know that what I find funny is also what you find funny is so healing for me. And so it was honestly unreal. I'll probably be replaying this moment in my mind again and again and again.
This was actually a really great experience. This is my first time attempting to do something that's a horror film. I usually do kind of near future, kind of dystopian stuff. So I was like, I don't know if I can do it, hit all the points of a horror film. So I was, kind of trying to make sure I got the tone right. And just to hear you all respond to it, and there's somebody back there who was, oh Lord, God. Also, to be honest, I let my mother, who's here in the house, I let her see a movie on my phone. I went over to your house one day, and I was like doing something else, and all I heard her was like, she was talking back to the phone, and no, don't go there, and why don't you do that? And I was like, I think I got it. So this was a wonderful experience. Thank you so much.
To be honest, it's always going to be a learning experience when you scream in front of an audience. You always, especially when you're in the movie, it's rough. But I always try to take from it, because every audience you show in front of is going to give you something different. So I just try to take note in my mind when I want to do different. This is one of the best audiences I've screened in front of.
I'm really enjoying right now, so thank y'all for this collective energy. And also many more films to come for all of you.
Yes,
The last question I have before I open up to the audience, but I have many questions, believe me, I have many just in case, is I want to start with Asli and David, and then I want the question to kind of open up to all of you. Asli, your film has so many different, shout out to Nikki, shout out to Lois Moses, and many other Philadelphia filmmakers and producers that kind of came to this creation, and you yourself have made many films that are set within Philadelphia. And while Sundown Road is not specifically set in Philadelphia, I think there's like a Philadelphia mythos that like outside of the city, it's not really for Black folks. And And David, you as well, you set your film in Philadelphia, and so I'm kind of wondering, what does it mean for you to set your films or projects within Philadelphia, as well as I would like to ask the same question to both of you. What does it mean to set your film within San Francisco? Or what does it mean to set your film within, I'm assuming, New York, Flatbush? And so that's what does it mean to be connected to that place and have the setting be within that film?
Okay, I'll start. I am fairly new to Philadelphia. I've been here maybe 9-10 years now. I'm kidding. But I'm in and out of Philly. But coming from New York, New York filmmaker, making films very specifically to New York, and then coming here and trying to do the same thing. And just getting to know the city and the history and the people and the culture here has been really, really amazing for my work. I've just found so many opportunities to talk about different things. And this film was set just outside of Philly in Westchester. So like even me imagining like what Philly means, and then these students theoretically traveling to Lincoln University or something like that, right? Traveling through different areas to get to another space that is theirs. I've grown to understand what that means. Even my producer, Nikki Harmon, who's a Philly native, talked to me about how that was really part of her experience, because she traveled, I forget to what school, North, but it's a historically Black college up further up. Cheney, yes. And so she talked about how it felt very familiar to her, that experience of traveling through spaces that, she didn't really, maybe didn't know really what was going on, knew, but didn't really know what was going on there. I'll leave it there, yeah.
I'm from here. There really was no other, it wasn't even a choice I made to put it in Philly. Like, when I wrote the things, it was just, Philly is a part of me. Philly has given me everything that I have, and so there was no process to make it in Philly. And also, in general, it means a lot to me to see Philly on the big screen, especially we got shows like Abbott out now, right? Watching that show in particular was like, oh wow, and watching it with other people, younger folks too, who see and can envision themselves as a part of this world, as a part of the industry, just means a lot to me. And I also wanted to talk about Philly issues and the things that we have going on here that aren't just specifically focused on violence or just portrayals, anti-Black portrayals that we see. Generally, I wanted to have fun and address issues that we deal with, but in a way that we can really engage with and feel good about. So I feel like everything I do really is in some way to try to give back to Philly everything that the city has given me. Shout out West Oak Lane, Uptown. That's where Uptown, my area, where I live now. And so yeah.
I'm from Northern California, so I didn't shoot in North California. It's a student film, and I just finished grad school. So I had a limit to what I was supposed to do, and I went beyond the limit because can't nobody tell me nothing. But the point is that there's a picture that I have of my grandfather who passed, and he used to manage Sylvester. And I didn't know who the other guy in the picture was, and I asked my friend, a filmmaker, Patrick Ian Folk, who was like, that's Harvey Miller. What are you talking about? So I started, my grandfather was a Motown producer. I only saw him on tour, and then subsequently I became a tour manager, but I really had limited time with him. And so I started researching that picture. And I figured out it was a birthday party, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the first time I met my grandfather was in studio with Sylvester. That's who that was. So it was very personal, and I'm a tour manager now, and I related it to some of my artists who have fear of going on stage. Yeah. And so it was a class assignment, and I went for it. And so that I don't have a big affiliation with San Francisco other than that's the place that I met the man who I basically led my life by.
It's so beautiful.
Wow.
Flatbush is alive. So, if you're trying to make a movie in Flatbush, make sure you get good sound. Especially if it's outside, you know, you want to get a random woo or some fight. There might be a fight. There was a fight, actually. So here's a little story. The guy that was carrying the couch pillow on the bike, we were having a difficult time getting him to be able to carry the pillow and ride the bike. He was like, man, I can't do it. In that moment, a dude rode by on a bike carrying like 6 2x4s. I was like, man, look at nigga, he can do it, you can do it too. I got it. I mean, that's what we were trying to capture, was the essence of that, you know? And just bring reality to the screen.
Thank you. So I'd like to open it up to anyone in the audience. If you have any questions, please raise your hand. I'm not sure if there's microphones that can go around, but hopefully you can project. Okay. All right. So there are microphones. They will come around. Does anyone?
So my name is Idris and Izzy. I'm a young filmmaker and writer, fresh out of college. If anyone has a job for me, just like let me know. Me too. My actual question is essentially like right now I'm finding myself in this like transitory period of my life. I just like graduated and there are all these things I want to do. I want to go find a job. Also, I want to submit to film festivals. I want to submit to literary magazines and I want to develop myself artistically, but also like money. So it's like how, I guess if you have like any advice or perspective on like how do you juggle all of those things when you feel like it's like I want to do like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, but like I really gotta focus on one at a time.
That's a good question.
You might not like the answer. I mean, get up early before you go to work and write when you're at work, write when you're on a plane, write when you're in the audience at BlackStar Film Festival, whenever that's how it is until you can gain momentum enough to be able to have it take over for your main source of money, but it's a long journey. So, Godspeed.
And I'll just add, in addition to you doing your individual work, find community to work with. You'll go farther, maybe faster, maybe, with other people trying to do this work. Because it's, we all know it's not an individual kind of art form. So find your people and work with them.
Great answers.
That's good.
Piggybacking off of those two, I would say be gentle with yourself. Like be kind to yourself. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You know, like it is a long journey, and so you're going to need rest while you're juggling all those things. And even though you might fumble sometimes, you might mess up here or there, while you're finding your balance, because there's no panacea to it. You just got to do it. You gotta figure it out for yourself. And so you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna mess up, but in those moments, I hope you're able to like be kind to yourself and gentle with yourself, because that's gonna make it easier to correct and figure out and adjust to do better moving forward. Yeah.
You might not like my answer. I'm from the 90s. I don't know. Find what self-care means to you. Perhaps it means writing for 4 hours a day to push you forward. You know what I mean? But I went to school and worked full time, and I made the film all at the same time. And I slept today, and I'll sleep tomorrow too. I don't know if I'm gonna take a vacation, and I haven't had a massage in a while. But you know what I mean? If you want to do all those things, there's only 24 hours in a day. So you pick what you want to do in those 24 hours.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for your answer. Any other questions from the audience? Yes.
I'll just project. Like, you guys just described like a really long journey and how much of it is sacrifice. Like, what motivates y'all to keep doing it if it's hard?
Inspiration.
The question is, what motivates them to keep on going? Does anyone-
I like hearing your reaction to what I wrote. I think that's the neatest thing ever, and I want to do that again.
Yeah, I think for me, it is also the reaction. It's feeling like not alone. You know, I think art is like a communication and it's about relationship, and I like that feeling of sharing it. I don't think I would make art if it just like sat in my phone or something, you know? So definitely the sharing it, and also it doesn't even feel like a choice sometimes. It just feels like it's going to happen. So I might as well try to do it well and professionally and live off of it, because it's just gonna happen naturally.
All of those above. It's a little bit insanity doing this, right? But yes, fulfilling. Like if you feel the arts and you feel you want to express yourself in a certain way, there's no way you can stop that. Or at least I'm speaking for myself. I can't stop it. I get inspired. I want to make art. I want to say something about something. I want to try something out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What everybody said, and just do it. Just do it.
This is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. It's not easy. And I don't honestly know why I continue to put myself through these trials. It's very rewarding. Yeah. It's very rewarding, like, to be at places like this where you can meet other people like yourselves and feel like all that time that you spent by yourself developing things and with other people is well accepted. It's very awesome.
We have two questions down. There's a question.
What's next?
Yeah, so where do you go from here? Are you gonna put your shorts in other Black film festivals around the city? And actually, some of these would be great to open up a movie like the one now, Haunted Mansion. I mean, I see a couple of them that would be great to open up, you know, those movies. So do you plan on getting any distribution or something?
I stand in solidarity with the WGA. I'm on strike right now, but I'm developing a future version when we resume of the vacation.
Solidarity, indeed. I've already submitted to several other festivals, and I'm waiting to hear back. I've heard back from one, and I can't announce it yet, but I'm looking forward to having it screened with a different audience in different states. And you know, when I wrote the script, there were other ideas percolating around, like some of the things they were talking about. And so in the back of my head, I'm also like, I should write a feature-length version of this project. So that's something I'm kind of pondering now.
I also stand in solidarity with WGA and SAG-AFTRA. So feature-wise, I mean, I would love to develop this short into a feature. Any producers or money holders out there want to finance it? This film started off as four comedy sketches out of like 14. So there's a lot to be done there. The world is just begging to be expanded, but none of that will happen until those demands are met, until people are treated and compensated correctly and properly for their labor.
Yeah.
I am submitting to festivals. We're in that process sort of now. I want to submit it all over the place. I think there are a lot of audiences that would really love something like this outside of BlackStar, and hopefully we'll have many more opportunities to see it across the world.
I am currently in development with a television show, so when all this is over, and a film that will be shot in Africa and utilizing different actors in different countries. And while I stand in solidarity as well, I'm also in solidarity with the people who are up and comers, who I believe should stay ready so that when it does burst open, you can be first in line, because everybody else who's already been in the business is going to be first in line, so we can't be waiting. You know, I feel like we should utilize this time to get together all the platforms and all of the scripts and all the things that we want to have ready, particularly if we're not in the union. So that's what's next for me.
We have a question in front, and then we have a question in the back, and then we might be able to take one or two more.
How y'all doing today? I'm Pablo. I was in you did an excellent job. My question is for each and every one of you, because being on set with David, it was phenomenal energy, no arguments or anything. How do you go about putting your team together when you're beginning to shoot?
Since that was my first time, we were given our team for the most part, and then I pulled some of my own friends who work in the industry. So for me, I feel like the strongest person that I know I need for future is a first AD. Like that's the lifeline for a director. It's similar to what I do in music. You know, it's your run-to, the person that puts everything together and keeps everybody at ease. And I'm really pro-crew, so I just like everybody to feel good all the time. You were talking about how to get ahead earlier, and I said this yesterday, working with your peers, like whoever's next to you, and I know people say that all the time, but it's like a real thing, because you watch everybody grow together. And then you can lean on each other when you do need something, when you do say, hey, I need this film, I can ask my homie who has a space, who says, okay, you can do your film here. I mean, I can ask my other friend, hey, I need you to mix this music for me. And he's like, okay, you hooked me up that one time, I got you. So I think it's like, my films definitely favors from my friends. So I would say keep your peer group tight, because everybody does something different, right? But, you know, you're gonna act, you're gonna direct, you're gonna shoot. So you keep those people and then run out on weekends and shoot.
So making this film within the BlackStar Filmmaker Lab, there were tons of resources that BlackStar provided us, a pool of crew members to access, but we had to reach out to them and crew them, interview them, and produce, you know? But they didn't just give us like access to people, there were workshops. So one of them was about how to build an intentional set and be intentional about the practices and the energy and the vibe and just the culture of your set. And that was super, super beneficial as well. And I think the main thing for us, me and my amazing producer, Eliza Turner, it was about the vibe. We knew we wanted to make a comedy. We wanted to make something fun, and you can't create, it's hard to create comedy in a space where everyone's like anxious and tense and like fights are breaking out and like all that. So we were really, really specific in our crewing of, especially our core team, about the vibe. You know, we like your work, we know you're talented, you know, but do you fit? You know, are you cool? Do you get the humor? Like, are you a piece? Like, are you gonna fit within the machine that we're kind of building, the culture we're building? And that takes trusting your instincts as well when you're doing that, knowing what you want and trusting your instincts when you meet someone, whether it's gonna be off or not. Yeah.
So when I relocated to Philadelphia, I had to kind of rebuild my film community from what I had in school in New York. So this is my fourth film, I believe, since I've been in Philly. Fourth time in BlackStar, actually. I've been slowly working and building people that I work with consistently over and over, and also working with other people too. There's a tremendous amount of talent and skill here in Philadelphia that is just really amazing to work with. I want to give a shout out again to, she's not here, but my producer, Nikki Harmon. I could not have done it without her. It was her work, and she made that happen. And you know, Stephen Schlater is my editor, and I also want to just give a shout out to what I did do differently was I did casting with a professional company for the first time instead of having my friends always in films. And that was really great. They really brought some amazing talent that I probably would have taken longer to get to. So Mike Lemon Casting, which is an old school kind of casting agency in Philadelphia, I give them a shout out because they brought me Xavier Michael, Sienna Castro, and Maxu Vila, the 3 actors in my film that I think they were the perfect combination of what I needed at the time. They also did rehearsals on their own, which I found out later, which was really great. They were really into it. And just kind of making an environment. We actually shot on the hottest 3 days of 2022. I don't know if y'all remember it. That one weekend when it was like 100 degrees every day, and we were on the side of a hill with the sun like right there on our face the whole time. But just trying to make sure everybody was comfortable to do the work that they were able to do and were there to do. You know, feed them, rehearsals, make sure everybody feels comfortable. We also had to deal with like COVID kind of conditions, so making sure, you know, everybody was safe around that. And just, you know, like we had a lot of conversation. We just didn't rehearse the script, we had a lot of conversations. And I would like to credit them because they really brought questions to me about what my intentions were with these characters. And you know, someone, well, I don't feel like I have as much backstory as I need to have to kind of make this work, and can we work on something to make it feel better to me? And so we, you know, I totally worked with them in that case and wrote some other lines. Yeah, I just, the time spent ahead of time really just, I think, paid off for us, preparing for the shoot.
Martise, are you here? Shout out to my producer, Martise, up there. His Cadillac in the film, that was his actual Cadillac. He drove it from New York, so we were rolling around getting cheesesteaks. We went to Max. Had a $10 margarita. Yeah, so I wrote, like, writing specific characters that are of people, the essence of people in my actual life, and casting people that like kind of have that same vibe. This is an ensemble piece, and it's like the casting and the acting is super crucial, especially as me as a writer and director, because I can't, you know, I'm not a classically trained actor. I've done improv for a really long time, but I don't see myself as someone that is going to be, I always see myself with the surrounding cast. We met on the first day of shooting. We hadn't met before then. We all talked separately. I talked to all the actors separately, but I just cast people that I knew that were similar for the vibe that I was going. And we got lucky because everybody really liked each other, and that chemistry really came through on the screen.
I think you hit a big note. A lot of it is luck. You can't predict chemistry very well. You can hope for the best and like do your justice in the selection process. But yeah, I think for me, I am an actor. I study it. I love it. Performer. You know, I grew up in church, so I've been performing my whole life to some degree. But but I knew going into this process that it would be important just as a director to know my shit, you know, and to like, once I brought these people in, these actors in, that they were the characters and it was them now. And so I think really giving the actors like freedom to bring, like, so much of what was in the film was not like scripted. Like I also come from improv. I've studied the Philly Improv Theater as well, and like even down to, I remember, small anecdote, we didn't really have like that Chase's speech at the end, like wasn't fully there, and our actor Joshua Hendricks, where you at, Josh? We had one rehearsal, we didn't have a whole bunch of time. It was a fish fry, which was important, like creating the vibe, right? We had fun, we hung out outside of the project, which is also important. But Josh came up to me on set the day before our last day, day before we shot that scene, and was like, yo, like, I feel like the ending isn't finished, right? Like there's something more there. And I was like, yes, thank you, I've been meaning to talk to you about that. And essentially it was like, yo, I'm gonna send you like a couple lines, but like, make that up. Like, just riff, like, whatever you feel in that moment, you know, do that. And that is, you know, it's risky. You know, especially like the first time filmmaker in the BlackStar lab, I'm like, this could go terrible. But I knew in that moment who I was working with, and that the very person who would ask that question is not gonna fumble that, right? And he showed up and showed out, and it was amazing. I mean, you saw it, right? So I think in terms of trust, it also means taking risks. Like, trust is risky inherently. And also, it helps if you are friends and if you make genuine relationships with these actors, helping them feel safe. If you see them as human beings, right? Not just performance makers, right? But people, you're going to think about how to create an emotional environment where they feel safe enough to do their best, you know, on stage. So, yeah.
I think a lot has to do with scheduling and how you set up your first days. I only had 3 days. So my first day, I also was against Bashir Salahuddin. He does Sherman Showcase in Southside. And he was about to go start shooting his season of Sherman Showcase, so he gave me that time. And again, it's my first time directing, and he knew me as a tour manager, but not as a director. And he was so patient and so kind to me. Like, we still did everything in 2 shoots, you know, 2 takes. He was like, we're good, let's keep going. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. He kind of led me, but I was able to not, I thought there was a way to speak directese, you know, and there wasn't. I could just say, you know, act like your granddaddy would when he's knocking on your door, and he was like, oh, bet, I got that. So it felt really black and safe, and, you know, so I appreciate that he was on the first day. So it put me at ease to the next days. I knew the guy who played Sylvester was a super fan of Sylvester. He came ready, and he wanted to do this project. He wants to do another one. So he gave me time. He didn't rush it. We definitely shot for 11 hours the next day. And he was by himself, so it was, you know, all of my shots except for one scene, and that was quick. You know, everybody got a chance to be by themselves. So it was monologues all day, basically. So I think scheduling helps you, you know, you give yourself peace when you schedule properly.
Thank you. If you are a part of the community that has brought these films, and I mean production, but also family, parents in the room, anyone, thank you so much. And if everyone can just give them a second applause. So this concludes the screening for Perturbed. Please find these filmmakers and ask them all the questions. I know they have to set up for the next screening, so if you could please make your way to the exit as you find